All right, PKN episode 150. I'm sorry, 161. I know lots of people are very interested in which number it is. So we were talking about comparing. Okay,
Comparing the shittiness.
you guys were
of,
frozen on my screen, and I'm like, am I alone? I don't know. But yeah, comparing Kyle and Taylor State. Maybe I'll find a way in. Wonder Woman, Wings, and maybe something else. I forget. What should we kick off with?
I guess we could talk about the so you can talk about what happened in your state, Taylor, but what happened here was that the transgendered leader of like the LGBTQ ABCD group at Georgia Tech, basically this individual scout was suicidal and distraught, and so a few nights ago he called the police and described himself as a suspicious individual who was armed with a knife or something like that. So then the Georgia Tech campus police show up and, oh, look, here's the guy who matches the description. They did not know, of course, that the man who had called them was the man that they were seeing. And I shouldn't say man, I suppose, but his father called him a man, so I'm going to stick with that version. And so I watched the video. The video is pretty rough. You get some once they shoot him, he's screaming on the ground until the video cuts pretty loudly. It's hard. It's not easy to watch.
Can I ask a question? So what did the cops see when they got there? Like, was he holding a knife? Was he being aggressive? Like, do you think that it was a good shoot?
No, it wasn't.
No?
He had a Leatherman, like multi-tool.
I have that. They're terrible weapons.
Terrible weapon.
I read, I don't know if this is true, Kyle, you caught up, obviously know way more about this. In his tip, he said that the man he was describing, which was himself, had a knife and possibly a gun, on his side.
He did say that. Yeah, that's another bit of it. And I don't know, two cops sort of spread away from each other, looking at the guy. Put it down, stop moving toward us. What's your name? What's your name?
Was he moving toward them?
Yeah, but at the pace of a very weakened zombie. It just super slow, 1/4 back pedal speed, if that makes sense. Like I can run backwards pretty quick, even while I'm maintaining a shoot and point kind of stance. And I don't know why they had to shoot him in the heart. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they got to shoot. I know that's what they're trained to do, but this wasn't like fight or flight. This wasn't like, oh God, he's on me. It was like there was plenty of time to like have a conversation about where to shoot him.
It sounded like a taser opportunity. Like, I didn't see the video.
Really did.
Okay. Well, that.
Yeah. They did use a taser first?
No.
It would have been a better choice.
Oh yeah, it definitely would have for this situation. I think.
Let me grab the video, and I want to know what Woody would have done, because I know what I would have done. I'm not going to say it quite yet, but I want to hear.
So while you look up the video, in my head, I'm not a guy who instantly says the cops are wrong. I suppose everybody thinks they. Look, I'm a special snowflake.
Yeah, I'd handle it.
I accurately look at videos and determine who's right and wrong, like other people don't. Right?
I put one right through his big toe and end that situation. It's like, yeah, I bet, buddy. Yeah.
I feel there are some people who think cops are right no matter what they do, and there are other people who think cops are wrong no matter what they do. And I try to be on target with this. Let's see what we're dealing with.
This is a 1 minute and 20-second long live leak video. If you guys want to find it, it says, I think the title of the video is "Video Shows Moments Before Georgia Tech Police Kill Student."
All right, I'm ready to play. Are you guys?
I am.
Ready, set, play.
Drop the knife. Come on, let's drop it. Drop it. Shoot me. No, drop the knife. Drop the knife. Drop the knife.
Still like 10 feet away from him.
Yeah, and he's walking forward. Like, if you're listening to this on audio, you know when you walk forward and your toes are equal to your heel, and each step is that big? Like that's what I'm seeing.
Inching forward. The cop's just inching back.
And by the way, he'll take like 3 of those steps where there's no gap between your feet. It's just like heel to toe. And then he stops for 20 seconds.
So you're going to hear some screams in a second. I don't know, if you're 4 years old or something, you're a child, you don't want to hear this.
It's not a large segment of our audience.
I can only see one cop,
be
but I'm
surprised.
guessing they're kind of like at a 45
Yeah, one of
degree
them's
angle.
hidden behind the tree. I think we
He
can't
is.
see him.
That's
he's-
the.
He's not moving at all right now. If he's about to get shot, well, okay. He's taking little steps forward. Oh.
Now you can't see him at all behind
He's
the tree.
behind a tree, yeah.
Is wailing.
That's the rap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I
Yeah, that seems like a taser situation. Like
It
the guy,
does.
if anything, he seemed like he was meandering around, like kind of like almost like if you told me this guy's on heroin or something, I'd be like, yeah, looks maybe like he is. Like he's walking around in a total stupor, whips around away from one cop and kind of just takes a few steps towards the other and then stops and then does it again. Like, I don't know. Like this is a taser situation. I agree with Kyle here, but I do also know, based on something I read, that they found multiple suicide notes in his dorm, that he'd attempted suicide before, and I don't know who it was or how reliable it is, but a lot of people seem to think that it's an attempted suicide by cop situation.
Totally is.
But it doesn't mean that the cop should still shoot him.
It
Like, you
shouldn't
don't
be
go,
that
"Well,
easy,
this is what
right?
I'm here for."
If
Yeah,
I
it should
call
get
the police and try to perform suicide by cop and be like, I got finger guns and I'm not afraid to use them, pow pow, and it works, that doesn't make it a good shooting just because I wanted to die. That's he had what, a Leatherman? Like that's
Yeah.
somewhere in between finger guns and like I don't know.
Yeah, he's
knife.
got he's got like a
It's
3-inch
nothing.
blade. I mean,
That
he does
doesn't
have a
lock,
knife.
right?
Yeah, mine locks. It just depends on the
I guess
model.
it depends on the
you know?
Leatherman. Good point. Good
I-
point.
I-
yeah.
there's an
if he
image
had
of
the
it.
greatest Leatherman in history, would that make this
Oh,
okay?
I-
It's like, oh, look at these! I'm gonna fire you
He had hedge trimmers.
in a little nail file. Well, he could have cut anything with those scissors.
so what do you do? Like, what do you do there, Woody? if
I
it's-
don't
if
know.
it's you?
So one thing I wanted to say was I wish there was an easier way for a cop to switch from gun to taser. I feel like two hands. So Kyle's motioning for two hands, and he brings up
Yeah.
a very strong point.
Dual
I-
will those bitches.
Yeah,
Those
I feel
are
like
handed our-
that-
That's right.
that
This is how
is
you
a
do it.
little risky, I think. Like if you had put me in a high stress situation and put a taser in my right and a gun in my left and asked me to make some good choices, I wouldn't make 100 in a row.
Okay, that is very true. I didn't consider that part. That's policy. Yeah.
But Kyle is right. It seems like maybe I just wish he could have switched to gun from taser. Like he could have assessed the situation and switched to taser. It seemed like the whole time he's like, should I kill him? Should I not kill him? Should I kill him? Should I not kill him? Stop walking forward. Stop walking. You inch toward me one more time. Pow pow. And I'm just like, man, why didn't you ever change gears? Why didn't you change gears? Is it that? I haven't been in that situation, and I recognize it's stressful. I've said this 1,000 times, but I've been with a gun in medium stress situations, like competitions, where there's a clock and such, and I'm not half the shot I am when I just plink away. If you put me in, like with an actual human life on the other side, I wouldn't be a quarter of the shot I am when I get to just plink away.
I think my
don't
weapon
know.
of choice. Yeah, the taser sounds good, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I could whip that kid's ass with one of those extendable batons, like the batons that you like, do like
Yeah.
a hitting motion and they extend out to like 2.5, 3 feet. I don't know if you've ever held one, especially like the police version. It's very heavy, especially on the end. It's sturdy. There's not a whole lot. There's some flex to it, but man, you just know, like we
Dude,
did that bit for a video where two guys beat me with them, and we put phone books under my back. But and through those phone books, it was like, you're hitting me hard. I had to keep. I told them hit me hard as you can, but like you could feel the impact. You could break that guy's wrist.
Dude.
I feel like I'd want to take him on with a baton.
Those the extendable ones, or even the wooden ones that kind of look like an
Nightstick.
L. Yeah, the nightstick.
Yeah.
You just have to hit your own palm, like a tough guy would with a baseball bat, to know, like, holy smokes. I didn't look like that big of a deal, but mild hits to my palm are painful. Like, this would hurt
Yeah.
a guy. This is
Yeah, this is a
These-
hard weapon.
curiously effective.
It's not
Yeah.
like those soft things that prisoner in the Erie was using to smack. It's like, no, go. now go, like that foam like thing. Like it's not that. It's
No.
so much harder than you think. Like if you've ever had a cop friend, I remember as a kid feeling that exact thing. Like, you know, when cops would come into the class and be like, "I'm officer friendly. We're your friends. You know, hold this. It's our nightstick." And you hold it, pick it up, and it's like, "Oh, this isn't like for them to swing and whistle as they walk down the street. This is for them to beat people to death potentially."
I
Yeah.
couldn't have put that better. Yeah, because if you've never held one, if you've never seen it, they're just you know, it's wooden in your head, right? So you
Very
think,
hardwood.
oh yeah, like even you'd have a hard time scratching it with your fingernail, and I think you
Yeah.
could do that easily to a baseball bat. But something about
Or like
it,
a broom handle. You know, like broom handles are made out of like this sort of flexy. Like you can feel that it's soft when you scrape it with your fingernail. But those nightsticks are this they're teak or something. Like it's fucking hard, dense, heavy wood, and you just know that like a man swinging it would break your wrist. It'd break your arm if he hit you, you know, right there. And yeah, it's hard to judge these guys, but maybe it's unfair at times to judge them. But I'm gonna say that was not a great shoot by any means, and not even a good shoot really. But the problem here isn't what happened with the cops; it was the response. So the Georgia Tech students staged like a vigil, you know, it was candlelight, very peaceful, kumbaya kind of. Let's
Okay.
remember this guy who was taken from us kind of moments. And there was some sentiment of like, why did they shoot? Why did they shoot? That's what his father's out there saying right
that's
now.
what we said.
Yeah.
But the Antifa guys showed up with masks and chemicals and rocks and burned a Georgia Tech police vehicle down and injured a handful of cops, 2 or 3 or something. And then several people got arrested, 2 or 3 arrests. I think one of the arrests was a Georgia Tech student, but the other 2 weren't. That's just going off what I read last night. And I saw the same thing happen. That's kind of what I wanted to get at with this like talk of like what happened was that the Antifa guys come in and instigate what could have been just a normal demonstration, like we're all 100% okay with, you know, this idea of freedom of speech and being able to go out there and voice your discontent in group. It's one of the cornerstones of like I feel like the American way. It's how you get shit done. But these Antifa guys come in and raise it to a 10 and take it to a violent level. And then I saw the same thing go down in Missouri. And I think Taylor's probably better able to talk about that. I watched plenty of it, but he knows the streets. He lives there.
Yeah, I know all the streets. I saw people on a corner today in like it was today, early this afternoon, at a corner in like a super white suburban area, and it was like just a bunch of white kids who obviously, you know, maybe on break for college or something, just haven't gone back yet, and just standing there with their Black Lives Matter signs and just kind of look, and it's like, are there any black people? No, there aren't. Huh? What do you know? And that's just in one area. But where it was horrible is near the city, which is, you know, miles away from where I saw that today. And basically there was a shooting in 2011 where a cop killed a heroin dealer, and the cop, and a lot of people think it was unjustified. And from what I've read about it, this is not one of those cut and dry ones like some you see where you'll hear like so-and-so was shot and he was innocent, you know, he was baking cookies. And then you look at it and it's like, what? No, they were not. And then other ones you'll hear that they were nefarious, and you watch it and somebody's just running away and they get shot in the back, like that one in South Carolina from a few years back. This seems somewhere in the middle there. Like the
I
guy
disagree.
wasn't-
It sounded bad to me. Can I hear you? So I only know what I read. I didn't see. But here's what I read.
there was a chase, yeah.
There was a chase, and they got there, and the one officer, the shooter, was saying like, put the gun down, put your hands where I can see him, or something like that. And I guess he wasn't fully complying. The other officer was way more chill. The shooter, this is a cop. The shooter said that the other guy said gun, that his partner said gun. But the other guy says, I didn't actually say gun. That's not true. And the video shows the other guy not behaving like you would if he had a gun. For example, his personal gun was holstered, right? He didn't even take his gun out. The partner was kind of chill, thinking like, all right, this thing's settling down. But the shooter was still amped up. Now, he shot the guy, and there was a question as to whether or not he had a gun, because the article didn't say the cop planted the gun, but he's like, there was a gun there, and
Yeah, they
we don't know who
implied it.
really owned it, and the cop's DNA was on it, but the victim's DNA was not on it. And you're like, oh, so the cop gave him a gun after the fact. Oh, and by the way, on video, the cop went like back and forth 4 times or something. Like there was ample opportunity and not exactly video proof. Like you didn't see the cop pull out the gun and put it there, but kind of video proof of the cop like having the opportunity to go get a gun, retrieve it, and then put it on the guy. So it really seemed like it's not a far-fetched idea at all to say the cop was way overhyped, shot a guy with no gun, not causing any threat beyond the chase, and planted a gun on him. And DNA evidence backs that. Like that kind of...
Yeah, like there and that's the most damning thing to me. Yeah, go ahead.
What makes it a current event, I don't know if Taylor laid this out, he may have, is while it happened in 2011, he was just recently found not guilty. So he's cool.
Yeah, so that's what it was last Friday, where, you know, obviously, like this is a verge that people were following all around the city because they were like, oh shit, this cop's gonna get off and they're gonna burn the city again. Like, so
don't you hate it when that happens?
Yeah.
I mean,
don't you hate it when that happens every year?
It's like, there's tornadoes in Oklahoma, there's hurricanes in Florida, and there's Antifa in Missouri.
Yeah.
It's just what you do.
Violent rioters and brick throwers. So,
can I just add something to it?
Yeah.
Oh, your video broke up a little. Here's what I saw. They're in that chase or whatever, and what came before the chase was the 2 cops trying to on foot get this guy to get out of his car, and then he drives away from him. And that's the sort of thing that the cops usually call attempted murder, when you drive your car near them too quickly. Like you're trying, they put that on the same level as if you were like crashing into a crowd of cops on purpose. Like they're like, oh, he drove aggressively near me. It's clear the guy wasn't attempting to hit anybody. He was trying to get the fuck out of there, right?
Yeah, if he wanted to hit someone,
as the cops are chasing him, the guy who eventually does do the shooting, he says, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker, you know?
I left that out.
And it's like, oh shit, he shouldn't have said that. And when they get there, he kills him, true to his word, and it
seemingly
like
plants a gun on him.
Seemingly plants a gun on him. You know, like we've all seen in the movies. Yeah. And that old revolver that gets like stuck between a seat, and that's where it was. It was between the seat when like, I don't know, whoever found it. I think maybe the cop who supposedly planted it is also the one who's like, oh look, I'm justified. There's a 38 here, hidden in the seat. That's what I saw. That's why I killed him.
I licked it, so if you find my DNA on there, I already told you would. You know, like,
What was that about?
why was he licking all the evidence? Like,
Oh, it was a black and white gun. Thought it was an Oreo. Could have happened to anyone.
But, yeah, it's not a good shooting. Like, the fact that he might have planted that gun and he was walking back and forth so many times makes me think he probably did, even if we can't know for sure. And like the whole, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy, does not do him any favors. No. Like if he had on the way, if he had on the way been like, it didn't end up hurt. Well, let's see, because I bet that guy's life is fucking over unless he goes into witness protection. No, he's not still a cop. Okay. No, he hasn't been a cop since it happened.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, now he's kind of famous because his face is everywhere, and that's not, maybe the Zimmerman effect. But then that Zimmerman guy ended up like selling awful art and stuff to white supremacists or something. But what I don't like is not to do with the shooting itself, because that's not good. It's it's awful actually, but it has to do with the rioting and the blocking of roads and the throwing of bricks at police and the Loop, which is an area here, the Del Mar Loop, which is a little closer to North City, was destroyed. Like dozens and dozens of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What's a loop? Like, it's a road. Like intersection?
It's the name of a part of the city. It's called the Del Mar Loop, and it's just an area with shopping and with cool restaurants and like a younger kind of hipstery area. A lot of fun stuff to do around there.
Nice. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's not like if you live in the Loop, to look out for muggers and stuff, because it's not, because you're still close enough to the city for that. But it's not like you don't go to the Loop and be like, be on your fucking guard. Like it's more It's more relaxed. I mean,
you're on your guard for beer bottles full of piss, though.
Yes, apparently. And but this place was destroyed. Like dozens and dozens of storefronts shattered. There's looting. There's so much trash and upturned stuff and fires. And it's like, God, you're not getting anybody on your side with this kind of behavior. And so many times you hear the excuse of like, well, it was peaceful the entire day up until the point that they started throwing bricks at the police. And it's like, well, then, like, do we call that a peaceful protest? Do we say it was a peaceful protest all day until 5 and then it got rough? Or like, I don't know. There's just too much excuse making, not for the people out there, because there are also lots of videos I've watched of leaders of the protest being like, if you're coming out here to start shit, don't come out here, please. Like, you're just making our attempts look bad. Like, you're
It's
not
hard to
helping.
lead a protest, though, right?
Yeah,
They're
it
not
is
like the
very hard
FFA.
because there's not accountability. Like, they could say that all day and say, hey, don't come around here, don't come around here. And at the end of the day, you see all those crowds of people with backpacks on. And it's like, oh, I wonder what they have in those backpacks they've been wearing around all day. And then there's suddenly people running around with masks on, with backpacks on, who have projectiles to throw and pee bottles and chemical spray. And it's like,
I love the pee bottles.
yeah, they were throwing pee bottles. There's a clip of one cop who, like, they're in their riot gear marching down the street trying to clear an area, and a brick just fucking levels a guy, one of the cops. Just boom, levels him, like hits him right in the upper body or the head or something. He goes down, and the rest of the cops have to like form in, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like that could kill somebody. First of all, I don't know. It's just depressing watching, because I can understand the protest as far as, hey, this is an uncool. This is not the way it should work.
The victim
shooting.
was black, right? The guy that got shot.
Correct. Yeah.
So I was either too young for it, or maybe or not born yet, or maybe on the very tail end, too young for when black people were really marching for equal rights and civil rights and such. But they faced the same kinds of problems, it seems, right? You've got tons and tons of people who were just kind of like peacefully protesting, trying to get the word out. And then you've got a little piece of it, I'll call them the 10%, I don't know, who make it violent. And then all of a sudden you can just paint them all with one broad brush. It ruins the effectiveness of the protest. It makes them terrorists. It makes them, like, Antifa is not, I don't think, the effective way for people to make change.
It's violence on all sides.
It sabotages
on all sides.
it. Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of, like, if you just respectfully marched for this, and I get why that's not appealing when you're protesting, but if you just respectfully march for it and then vote in mass and make some changes, I feel like you'll wield some power. If you break somebody's glass in the loop, it makes people want to, like,
it's
been going on
more
for
cops.
days.
And it's been going on all weekend. Like, I just checked the St. Louis SLMPD, their Twitter. Since Friday night, 123 people have been arrested at these events. So, and of course, they don't get everyone. And like,
they usually pick out the most aggressive, the troublemakers, because I don't, like, there are whatever 90% of the people doing just peace, and then there's, I'll say, 8% that can get influenced by the other two. And if they just pull out the guys who are like, follow me, let's throw bricks, and then that guy gets plucked, maybe no one else steps up and says, oh, I've got bricks.
I like the different, like you guys brought out so many different kinds of cops that it reminded me of like an RTS game, right? Like first you got the riot phalanx cops. Those are up front, right? They got their phalanx up front, shields interconnected. They've got nice strategy, multiple waves of these guys. The first wave, they just knock people down and step over them. Second wave, they're zip tying these fuckers up. Then you got the bicycle cops. They only come out at night because they're ashamed. They've got lights on. They got lights on their head. They're rolling through the loop. Ring, 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 locking shit down. Then you've got Zip Tie Man himself. Now, he's a boss character, all right? He is covered from chest to groin in 1,000 zip ties. It looks like he could restrain the entire population of Southeast Missouri. Like, he could lock it all down if he wanted to. It's really interesting to see them all come out. And, of course, they're holding back the real coup de grace. They got the National Guard over there somewhere with like a tank and a 50 cal. And where's that water hose? I don't know. It's a shame
that's
there
what they
was
had
so
on
much.
top. I don't think they had a 50 cal. I think they probably had a water. Go,
They had a 50 cal at
Stop
Ferguson.
breaking the windows.
Had a
Go,
50
go,
cal
go,
at
go.
Ferguson.
In
In Ferguson,
Ferguson.
they had a Ma Deuce M2
Oh, yeah.
machine gun ready to fucking. They could have killed everything and anyone. So if that one guy operating it had just had a seizure and like locked up or something, it's on a pendulum mount so that like it doesn't go up and just like start shooting the sky if you freak out. It's locked in this plane of death where
Police
like
here are ready for this shit. After Ferguson happened, and our new governor is more serious about cracking down on rioting and that kind of thing, and so they're fucking prepared. If they need the National Guard again, they're not going to hold back. One thing that I thought was kind of funny, and I got a kick out of it, that of course, like on Twitter, people were like, "Go, the cops shouldn't be doing this," and I'm like, you're probably right, but still, is you know how you see the Antifa people, they'll walk down the streets and be like, "Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets." There's a clip of the downtown St. Louis SWAT brigade or whatever marching down the street at these protesters who are like starting to flee, and the cops are banging it on there going, "Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets?" Marching towards them. It's like, yeah, restore order, you know. Get back under control. And like the thing about the Loop, I want to go back to it for a sec. Like in like all these areas, it wasn't just that one area where stuff was destroyed. There was a lot.
Yeah.
But most of these areas, they're like boutique, like restaurants or shopping or an independent coffee place. Of course, there's change, but there's a lot of that independent, like, oh, let's go to Joe's, whatever the hell shack. Like, it bothers me so much more. Maybe it shouldn't, but it does. It bothers me more when I see those businesses fucked with than when I, if this happened, there's a local business here called Pie Pizza, like P.I. Pizza. And the owner of one of these downtown was like the actual owner. He was like, "I am not leaving my pizza store again for it to get destroyed." And so he set himself up there with a shotgun behind the counter at his own pie pizzeria and waited for people to destroy it. And I think they destroyed some things, and he didn't shoot or anything, and they kept going. And eventually it was the cops who came in, and they ended up like tasing him or pepper spraying him or something to subdue him, because obviously if you're a cop and you're pretty on edge, like you're not sticking around to be like, "And why do you have the shotgun, good sir?" like I'm protecting my pizza establishment. All right, carry on. Like you gotta.
So everyone knows the Koreans in South Central LA protected they got on the roofs, they had their guns, and they protected their stores. How exactly is that done? Because I feel like, are you allowed to shoot people? And and what, like, at what point do you shoot? Like, all right, hey, the curb by the sidewalk is the red line. You step on the sidewalk, you die. Like,
that's my sidewalk. You stay off my sidewalk.
You
I
can't
blast you.
enforce that. And what do you?
They were shooting. I don't know if you've seen like I did a little research into that thing because I found it very interesting. Because you see those, there's like this accidental Renaissance post where like you see the Koreans with their silly mustaches holding up like an M1, and the other guy's got his handgun and stuff. And I've seen them, but they're just blasting at people. There was a boiling point that was reached with these Korean businessmen where they were like, "Oh, everyone die, you die, you die, you die."
I have an idea. I just thought of it about trying to problem solve here. If I'm Pizza Pie owner, maybe I need 2 shotguns, and one of them has non-lethal rounds, right? Like, if a guy breaks my window and I hit him back with a beanbag, hey, I'm cool with that. That seems like a fair. I like that trade.
Oh, another thing they did is the rioters marched to our mayor's house and started throwing bricks through the windows and destroying shit.
Like, I bet that didn't work out well.
And
you know what?
They got up. They just left.
Yeah, they just left. And you know what's funny is like they went to our mayor, and of course it's the mayor of a city, and so they're always blue for the most part. And so she's a Democrat mayor who would have, come out there and been like, "I totally get it, and why you're doing this and that and the other thing." And they go to her house and start destroying it. You know where they're not going to destroy is our fucking governor's house, who's a former Navy SEAL, and all of his campaign ads are him firing machine guns into explosives. They're not showing up at Eric Greitens' house because they know it's not going to go well. He'll have a flashback.
Probably not nearby either, right?
No, it's but there's enough people that would protest in Jefferson City, which is the capital here, then, but they're not as much. But that just blew my mind too. It's like, first of all, how do you know like 100% where the mayor lives unless somebody's leading the way? Like, of course, you kind of know that area, but that's
right.
a pointed thing. You don't just stumble upon like, and
Well-
it's the mayor's house. It says mayor right out
Yeah,
front.
when
Like,
you said the story, I instantly thought like, oh right, they went to the mayor's mansion, right? It's probably cordoned off. No, mayors don't have mansions. That's
No.
governor, you dumbass. That's just the mayor's house. She's just a regular person. It's not even that good
just
paying a
a
job.
lady who
Yeah.
just got, and this lady, she got voted in as mayor. I feel bad for her because of this. I think like a few months ago. Like she's the new one, and so she just got in, and they're like, "Fucking Lyda Krustin, you cunt!" Like throwing
She wasn't even home. She's in Chicago
No.
for some like mayor's conference,
Thought
probably.
she'd go to a safer city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's probably huddling in the bathroom, like a room with no windows with her children, like there's a tornado out there. That's
Yeah.
that's
They have secret.
But yeah,
mayors, something.
the bottom line here is that like peaceful protest is is a big deal. It should be protected and preserved. But these Antifa guys really need to be classified as some sort of a domestic terrorist group. If that's a step too far, here's the real answer: like disallow the wearing of masks in public, except on Halloween, right? Like there is no time. There's only two excuses for wearing a mask. One, it's Halloween, and two, you're like that guy from Boardwalk Empire who got half his face shot off. Those are the only two reasons to wear a mask.
it's
There are no
sometimes
others.
cold.
That checks out.
That's why I wear one.
You go the
But
full
you would
mask
never
with
be
the eye holes.
cold
When I
in September
paramotor,
in a
yeah.
giant crowd.
Well, you're in the air.
I
You're
know.
not
I'm just
walking through
saying,
Main
cold is a
Street.
thing. But yeah, that's literally like I wear a mask when I paramotor.
I feel you. Okay.
Yeah.
They do need to get rid of the
In the
mask
winter.
thing in public because like there's no reason to throw a bandana on out of the backpack that you've been wearing all day because I'm just here for the fun, and then oh my god, at 7 p.m. so many people just appeared, like all the peaceful people left and a bunch of violent criminals came in. It's like, you think that's what happened? You disingenuous liar. You think
Those
it's
are
two
the same
separate groups? No, there's a subsection of the first group that destroys things.
Those are the same people who are duped every time Clark Kent goes, takes his glasses off and flies away to be a globally famous superhero, and a famous reporter at the same time. Those are the same group of people who are somehow duped by that. No, you disallow the mask. That's how, in a lot of ways, the Klan lost its power. You disallowed them from
Wait,
being
did
able
they
to
lose
hide.
their masks?
They used to. Like now, I don't know what the rules are, but back in the day, one of the ways that they took the Klan down a notch was disallowing the use of those masks, and because then you got to come out and be like, yeah, I hate every race that isn't me, and I'm all for lynching people and burning black businesses down and blowing up churches with little girls in them, and all of a sudden it was like, no, Jim, you own a bakery. We're going to come burn your bakery down, or we're going to come arrest you, or we're not going to buy your cakes anymore, or whatever it may be. But it would disallow the use of masks. If they're wearing a mask, you should lock them up. There's no reason to wear a mask. I mean, if it was a real cold day, and you just, I understand, okay, but you're
There's
not in Alaska.
Some
Missouri.
sort of right to privacy
Yeah,
and like freedom of speech. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's oppressive, but you really might be onto something there. Because so when the white supremacists marched in, was it Charlottesville?
Yep.
A couple of them were made famous, right? A couple of them like became the face of this protest. They lost their jobs, their lives were ruined, and there was like 6 of them, I don't know. And they canceled their next demonstrations. Right? There was going to be a bunch of those, and now there's not. If Antifa guys couldn't wear their masks, then gosh, these people would get kicked out of their colleges. I assume that's where they're from. They'd lose their jobs. It would be super effective in getting people to stop this.
They'd bus in. These
Yeah.
people bus in from out of state to be rabble rousers. They look for any opportunity to wave the flag of anarchy and communism and violence.
I wonder,
Uh,
are they really going for change, or is it just super fun? Like I
Both.
want, because I'll tell you, like, look, I'm not going to do it. I'll never do it. I haven't really done it, but throwing bricks through buildings or throwing bricks through windows and breaking shit and sticking your middle finger at the man sounds like a really good weekend. Like that sounds fun.
I think
it
that,
really is.
like,
There's something in us that, like, from childhood, we've been told. You look at a window and it's like, oh, don't ever throw a brick through that window, and it's like, well, shit, I kind of like seeing. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to like do some demolition in a house or in a structure where like, yeah, we need that whole wall taken down. It's really fun to destroy a wall. Like my dad had a single wide trailer that was like pushed off to the side, and it was like, yeah, that's garbage. You know, we're gonna burn that. And I was like, oh, can it be like my playhouse? Yeah, I guess. And my cousin like made a living out of going in there and just like we never played any headbanger music and went to town, but like in our heads it was playing. We'd go in there and just smash, just hammers and just knock walls down and kick doors in. Like if you've never kicked a door in as a grown man, you're missing out. It's a very empowering thing to do. To like do, you know, pull a Bruce Willis and just fucking drop kick a door.
I'm not gonna go kick somebody else's door in on a lark because it seems like it'd be fun.
Unless you're wearing a mask.
Yes, unless I'm wearing a mask and I can hide my shitty aggression behind some sort of social justice, where you're like, I'm not a piece of shit. I'm actually just teaching the owner of this pizza place that what that cop did 6 years ago, not cool. Prick. Like, no, like you can't do that.
I'm
That's
sure
not
they're out
cool.
there changing minds.
And
Take
one-
that
yeah, exactly.
pie pizza.
These, like, I was, I don't remember who I was telling this, but like, they are like they're like honey and vinegar realty with no honey and all vinegar. They're trying to catch as many people as they can with just vinegar, and nobody's coming around. You know, even when the honey people try and be like, stop, you're fucking ruining this, it's not getting through to them because they don't, if they really cared, they'd probably listen to the people organizing the march, or organizing it as much as you can, a protest, and be like, you know what, we actually are hurting. We're hurting this entire process. Like we should not throw bricks and throw pee and acid on police officers. Like, but they don't care. Yeah, they don't care one bit. But
Very
anyway,
frustrating.
That's enough police talk. I'm sure we're gonna get more. I just checked the St. Louis Police Twitter, and of course, delays all over the place because people are standing in roads. So that's fun.
Yeah, enjoy your new neighborhood. Like, just so you know,
sucks.
maybe you don't want to say, but Taylor doesn't live awfully far from like where the shit is going down.
Yeah. So that'll. Yeah.
But you're about to move, right?
We'll see.
Maybe you'll be further.
The area I am now still isn't too far from where it is. It's just I'm a modicum closer that way. And sometimes that's all it takes.
Wait.
Is being one.
You didn't move yet, though, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm like, am I crazy? I swear I've seen this room.
Yes. I picked an identical.
Yes. Oh, Woody, it's very similar to before. You know?
Yeah, no,
But have you picked your next place? Or you just...
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I've got it all squared away. I'm
So
moving
there's
in
even-
next month.
Okay.
And so hopefully, well, when did Ferguson happen? Because that's when we have another resurgence of this at the anniversary every year.
It's Ferguson Day. Oh
And
shit!
then
Let me put my
every sing-
blackface on real quick. Oh,
And now
God,
I need to
thank
keep
God I
September
remembered.
15th in my mind as another anniversary from 4 days ago, because a year from now they're going to be like, hey, remember when we ruined all those restaurants? Let's do it again.
Can I tell you what happened in Raleigh? I'm 90% sure this is what went down. So, like, not too long after the first Ferguson, things were like something happened in Raleigh. There was a shooting. I think it was a drug dealer who was running and they shot him or something. And people were starting to get riled up, you know, with their angry whatever, marching down the street in a group. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, we're just a couple hours away. So the mayor comes out and she addresses everybody. And the like, I think the chief of police or some high-ranking person got out there and was also talking to like, hey, we hear where you're coming from, we understand, and they soothed them. I think they gave out ice cream. It was hot out. It was summertime. It was awful, and they're like, yeah, you know, here's some free ice cream. You know, just chow on this while we talk to you, and you know, exchange some ideas. And they got like the leaders of it to express their concerns, and they had like a dialogue, and they ate the ice cream, and I'm just like, dude, like. Why doesn't your mayor hook up with Good Humor and solve this problem? You know, and Good Humor is an ice cream that you see in the trucks.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking like, because Ferguson came and our current governor was like, all right, when we got Chris Rock coming in, gonna do a few bits for you guys, calm this whole thing down. Like,
I think the Good Humor man is what they used to call the ice cream man.
no,
Anyway,
the Blue Collar Comedy Tour was an oversight.
that's pretty funny, actually.
They put it down. A bunch of U2 fans and Ed Sheeran fans just got fucked because they canceled both of those
Ah.
concerts downtown. 40,000 people had tickets to go see U2, and the night before, Bono was like, "I'm not going." Like it's too risky.
Not fucking
He
safe.
might have been right. You know,
Yeah, they said the cops couldn't protect him.
I wouldn't go if I was him.
yeah. Oh, I want
If they
to.
get Bono, we're lost.
I want to wrap topics, but I have this in the midst of it. Here's what happened. The Ma Deuce, etc. that Kyle was talking about. There are pictures of that. They got circulated, and they're like, "Oh my God, these Ferguson police are an army. That's part of the problem. The police and the community don't get along." Obama canceled the sale of surplus army things, like things they would have otherwise retired, to police officers who would get like hand-me-down armored vehicles and Ma Deuces. And Trump brought it back, so now it's back in place.
Bringing
And-
it back.
Yeah, I think I agree with Obama, but it's not an easy choice for me. Like it's one
Yeah.
of those middle ones.
Like after it's easy, like I can see. It's hard for me to take it seriously when people are like, "Oh, look at them in their riot gear and their helmets and their batons and shields." Like, why do they
those
need
aren't the
to look
ones.
like
It's-
army men?
No, it's
It's
all
like just get bricks thrown at them. It's like
No,
you
yeah.
can't just have them dress up like Barney Fife and take a brick to the head and be like, "Oh, well, next time we won't put you in a blue collared shirt." Like,
no, same team on the obviously the riot gear. But
Yeah.
when they have armored vehicles, which like I think Kyle might know the name of every one, but to me they're all tanks. There's some tanks with tires, there's some tanks with tracks, but they're all tanks as far as I could
Break into
see.
tanks. You know?
yeah.
They're all tanks when one's running over you.
So they're I'll call them lightweight tanks if that makes people feel better. But there are what seem to me to be tanks with Ma Deuces mounted on the top, really designed to kill like 1,000 people in a reload or something. And I see that and I'm like, man, this just isn't policing. Like I don't feel like water cannons I can get on board with. But when they take the army
Bad
stuff,
PR.
to me, I see some water cannons, and every time I've seen a water cannon engaged, the person asked for it. The guy that taught me how to paramotor was a German riot police officer, detective person before he got that job, and they would warn people. They'd be like, "Hey, you need to back up, or you're gonna get cannoned," and the guy would be like, "Bring it," and they're like, "Okay, cannon coming, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1," and the whole time it's like cannon me, right? You know? And you have and 9 times out of 9, the cannon was way better than the person anticipated.
Oh, nobody ever just goes like,
Yeah, oh, no.
It's always
Yeah,
just blown
they
back.
think it's a really cool super soaker, but that's not what it's out. And
I don't mind getting a little wet. It's like, no, you're gonna have your skin torn off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
Oh.
the
blind
reason the reason that's got such bad PR, and maybe rightfully so, is I want to say Alabama because they were the worst at this. During the civil rights movement, they turned high pressure hoses and dogs on peaceful protesters. Just anybody walking down that street who was black got the hose, and that since then the hoses haven't been used in the United States. They're used internationally very effectively. And I remember watching Future Weapons, and they had all this cool shit, and I never see any of it. They had the heat ray gun. Remember the giant heat ray gun that like heats you up to like it's like an oven in your face all of a sudden, and it's very uncomfortable. They had that sticky shit where they would just like hose everybody down and like make them all sticky. And they'd be like frozen
Mountain
in
Dew
place.
gun. Yeah.
followed by the
much
feather
more-
gun.
like,
It's a great.
It's like,
it's a
it's like
hoot.
that great. It's like great stuff foam sealant that you like put in your attic crawl space and stuff. It's like that, but on a massive scale. It's
great.
outrageous.
And
And
I'm fine with stuff like that. Like, because when it comes down to it, like the water hose makes a lot of sense. That's why you see it used in Europe so effectively. And Woody's 100% right. I've never seen a water cannon footage. Granted, it's not like animal fights. I haven't looked up a lot, but I've never seen one where they snuck up on him and it's like, shh, he doesn't even know we're here in our giant tank. Like, welcome to Jackass. Like, no. Like what they do is I've actually seen ones with real counters, like on a siren, where it'll be like, whoop, whoop, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then they unleash it. Like there was one in Turkey where I think it killed the guy because he was standing like just obscenely close. Like just like they told him they're gonna shoot you with this water cannon. The guy's like, I'm gonna get a better look, and then it hits him in the head and it just flips him up and breaks his neck, I guess. But yeah, for the most part, it seems like a safer way to control a big crowd, right? Like,
Yeah, I
way
agree.
safer than sticky chemicals. Certainly,
I like the sticky chemicals. Let's change topics. I want to quickly say, like, I've been going on the DraftKings website, and like if anybody didn't watch the last PK or didn't watch that segment, sign up on there. Like we're gonna do some shit on there. It looks fun. There's a lot of free stuff that we could do for just silliness, but like the lowest dollar entry amount is $1, and I would really like to let's throw $1 in there because we could have 200 people competing in fantasy football, hockey, MMA, whatever, and we could set them up week to week. And everybody throws in $1 and do like a winner take all thing. And somebody gets a couple $100. It'd be cool.
So I'm totally flexible on the idea, but tell me if I haven't looked at the site like you did. Can you put $5 in for a season of like fantasy hockey and then the winner? And
Yeah, I think so.
is 200
Yeah,
the
what-
limit or could it be unlimited?
I think 200 is the group size limit,
Okay.
or at least it was like in my little quick experimentation, because I quickly tried to set up, like, not on purpose, but just to see, experimenting, like, what if we did an MMA thing? Oh, the smallest amount is $1, and then the most amount of people is 200. The most dollar amount was over 1,000, which seems pretty nuts.
Per person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No, thank
way
you.
too much. No,
No,
thank
no,
you.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't-
Not interested. I'm not that confident.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
check
right.
your hockey.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Why would I bet $1,000 on hocky?
This
Can we
is
play
gonna
with
go,
all
like,
1991 players? Because I know them pretty well.
Yes. Like if it's anything like every other fantasy thing that at least I've heard of, because all my friends do fantasy sports more often than I do, it's like a pattern that the person who knows the least seems to do well and to win often, because people who know more overthink stupid things, I think, and like will change their lineup too much. And as long as I don't know, like I know that Kyle will actually put in some research and figure out who he wants to pick because he's competitive and he wants to win. And so I don't know. I think Kyle's the dark horse in this because I know Woody's going to do pretty well because you
maybe
know
too
about
much
hockey.
credit. Yeah. My father-in-law had the same theory that people who had no idea always won the football pools. So he would take the football
proof.
pool home and have his daughters. Now I married one of them, and they would fill out the football pool for him, and then he would hand it in. He's like, "This is increasing my odds."
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's so true. I won the 1999 Super Bowl square thing. I was a child, so I had no idea what I was doing. I showed up to the party late, and there were 2 squares left, and I wrote my initials in those, and I won. In 2015, in 2015, or no, it must have been 2013, because it was one of my last years of college. I won again when the Seahawks won it. I think they won in 2013. I had no idea. I won $50. So that's definite. That's where I get. That's my sample size. And real data will not change my mind. Don't even try.
I think I told this before, but quickly, it was like a long time ago. I think the Cowboys were playing the Bills in the Super Bowl, and my wife, signed up on something, but it was like the biggest payout. It was the end of game final score, and you just pick the last digit. You don't have to really predict the score, but like, it'll be something 3 against something 8 or whatever. And she's there. She's set to win it, right? And we're excited because she has some credit card debt. Neither of us make any money, so this $300 was like the world to her, us really, and we're about to win. We're set up to win. Everything is awesome. And then somehow this, it might have been Leon Lett, I forget, but a Dallas guy gets the ball and he's running it back. He's fat. He's not fast, but he's all out in the open. There's nobody nearby. He's going to run it back for some huge amount, like 80 yards. And then BB, this speedy little guy, they're losing like 60-4 or something like that. He runs, he swats the ball out of the guy's hand at like the 2-yard line, prevents the score. We win, and I will always be grateful to that guy who let us win.
That guy, he made you $300.
Yeah, it was at a time when $300 was a lot. And
Were you watching that fat guy run like, you son of a bitch, have a heart attack? Like, don't you?
I want to show. I bet I can find this play on YouTube in a minute.
What Super Bowl was it? Do you recall?
No,
What
but
year?
I remember the. Let's see, BB Cowboys. Super Bowl. Let's see if here Leon Lett celebrates touchdown too soon. This is going to be it. Can we watch this together?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I've seen this one. Yeah, this is famous.
All right, are we ready? This is how Jackie
Yeah.
won the football pool. Ready, set,
I'm ready.
play.
Of celebration in one. I'll give you the rest of it after this play. 4th down and 6. And right fumbles picked up by Leon Lett. Can he
Fucking
go?
linebacker's got the ball.
It's a 60-yard
Look at this guy on the right.
He's being chased by Beebe. Watch out. Did he get across? No, they are not. That's going to be a touchback to Buffalo. There's no call yet, though. He has not marked touchdown. It was knocked out of
I
his
see you
hands.
waiting
It
on the
went
call.
out of bounds in
Please,
the end zone
please.
to give it to Buffalo at the 20. And look at Lett.
They give it to
If they
Buffalo at
call
the
that
20.
No touchdown. He's going to dig a hole and crawl out of this place from
Wow.
there.
We could probably, that's enough. They showed the play.
He's gonna need a big hole.
I missed that.
What a
They
great
were
line.
ahead 52-17. The Cowboys.
That broke up.
Wow.
Yeah, you broke up a little there, but yeah,
Oh,
that,
I said, yeah, they were ahead 52-17
Yeah.
at that time.
That's why I appreciated it so much, and he was still hustling. Oh, and by the way, that's like I said, that was the thing that impacted the final score. That was the end of the game. They were not about to go like Patriots style and score 30 points in the next
Yeah.
3 minutes or whatever it was.
Kyle knows that firsthand.
Yes.
that was
How devastating the Patriots can be.
that was rough.
Yeah.
That's although I'll say this, the Falcons looking very good this year. So is UGA. I have high hopes for at least one of them. Like, there's no way they can both fuck this up. UGA's schedule looks really good. Just got to get past Tennessee. I think we can beat Florida this year pretty easily, and I think we're going to beat Georgia Tech as well. I have high hopes for UGA this year. It's looking good. And the Falcons just stomped the shit out of the Packers the other night. That was they didn't stomp the shit out of them, but they beat them, and so very
They won.
happy about that. They won.
They
That's all
stomped the
matters.
shit out of them 23-21.
2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. So that's real good. Also, they're a good team. They're a great team. So that's it's looking good for both of them. So I could do NFL. We could do an NFL fantasy thing and go week to week with it or something like that. I'd be up for that. But when does the hockey season officially start? 'Cause
Early October, right?
I think early October, or no, mid-October is when all the preseason ends,
yeah,
I
we
believe.
got like a month almost to go before we get our season.
It's too
going.
much preseason. I don't care about these games because like there's like I get my hopes up. Like there's a Blues preseason game tonight, and I'm like, oh, I'll tune in and see. And then of course you always tune into preseason, and it's like, oh, where are all my favorite players? And it's like, oh, well, of course they don't show up for these games because they're not risking injuring them for this. It's just a
Yeah.
bunch of prospects and young kids.
There was a time when I was super into watching pro hockey. Like I could have, I could have named every player on the Flyers. I could have named every player who played a game that year for the Flyers. I could have told you what the current lines were. And I could have named like half the players on the Phantoms, which was their minor league team that they would call from. And we used to go to Phantoms games all the time. Preseason was super cool to me because I'd see my favorite minor league players in like NHL uniforms. And I know it's a big deal for them, which made it a big deal for me by proxy. And, I'm like, oh, he scored. Maybe he'll make the team. Like I was always hoping for the new guys. I really liked preseason, but as soon as I got rid of like current TV, I stopped paying attention. Like all I do is just sort of keep up online and text, a little bit.
Yeah. I saw somebody linked me on Steam the other day to Wings, like going through like a suicidal rant on Twitter. And
Yeah.
man, Wings, somebody show Wings this little clip here. Like Wings, don't be talking like that. Like, first of all, it's super unhealthy to even get yourself in that mindset. You don't want to hurt all those people around you. You would hurt all of us here. We would all feel really bad if you did something like that. I had someone kill themselves that I loved just very recently. It's a horrible, horrible thing. I was going to reach out to you, but then I saw that I didn't have you on Skype anymore. I feel bad seeing you talk like that, man. Don't talk like that. It's putting you in a mindset where like eventually, it's you get, the more you say something, the number you get to the idea of it, and it's not a good thing. You just need to like get your shit in order. And you don't need any critiques, I suppose. I know you get them fucking constantly, and you hate that. I know you don't like it in your streams if somebody's talking about something other than the team deathmatch at hand. But like, go play some PUBG, man. Like I would watch you play PUBG. play some PUBG, and do your best, and don't fucking kill yourself, and don't you gotta stop talking about killing yourself, or somebody's gonna like come and take your guns away, or like put you in a mental health facility. And I know you don't want that. You don't want to have the guys with the white shirts coming with nets and shit to your house and like get into that mess. So like, stop talking that stuff. It's not healthy, and certainly don't do it.
Two
Don't do
things
it, man.
happen when you talk.
Definitely.
When Wings talks about it in particular. One, like that barrier between thinking about it and doing it gets chiseled away. You know, it becomes less of a crazy thing, and we don't want that. The other thing is, whenever Wings says it, he gets a rash of negative feedback. And it's like, just take a moment before you put something that on Twitter and realize how your next 5 days are going to suck, you know, because of it. Your next 5 days, everyone's going to be giving you shit. They're going to be fussing at you in a way that's not good for your mental health. It sucks that he's in that spot. And man, so I've been depressed. Like, I get it. I've tried suicide a long time ago. And
Wasn't very good at it.
that was my
Didn't take.
Oh, dude, that's like, I didn't say, "Woo, I'm so glad I survived." My thought process was,
Can't even do
I
this.
suck at this too. You know, like I suck at everything. That's like I'm on the floor with a leash around my neck, thinking, "What are you racking up the failures? Here's another one to add to the list." That was what happened to me, and but I've come to realize now that mental health is health. It's just the exercises are different, right? You know, like everybody knows regular health, you sort of eat right, exercise, be active, and you'll be fine. Mental health, the exercises are like go outside, see the sun, keep a healthy sleep schedule, have relationships with friends and family, and it's some physical exercise. I know with Wings, it's one he doesn't want to hear, but physical exercise, relationships with family, see some sun, take some pride in your productivity. Those are things that's like that's mental health fitness. And when you're
There's also something to be said with the way you guys both talked about, you know, stop saying that even to yourself. Like, don't even think have those thinking patterns, because like that's a real thing with mental health are those self-fulfilling prophecies where you convince yourself, oh, it doesn't even have to be as extreme as suicide. It can be something, I suck at math. I've always sucked at math. I'm always going to suck at math. And you know what happens after you convince yourself of that is you're already hopeless. You're not going to ever get better at it. You know, if you think I suck at running, I suck at fitness, I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm not one of those people. Like, then you're right. If you convince yourself, then you're not going to be able to do it. Like, it's a way that because like
it's programming.
Your brain remembers the way you think. Like, and so if you have a constant thought process loop going of, I want to kill myself, I want to kill myself, I want to kill myself, you're right. You're numbing yourself to that, and it's going to look less and less extreme as you get more used to it. So just be wary of those thoughts. Even though it is just a thought, it's like you are poisoning yourself into an even darker place. And it can feel good for a little bit when you do that, because you can be like, you know, like, woe is me, like a self-pity kind of feeling of like, you know, like if life were just easier for me, I could do this, that, and the other thing. But in the long run, you really are just poisoning yourself and making that path to success harder. So like, I don't know. That's why cognitive behavioral therapy is so much more successful than other forms of counseling, because they will take you through and say, okay, let's stop and look at this thought process. Why do you think X, Y, Z? And what are you telling yourself? And how do you think that how you're communicating that to yourself in your head is impacting subsequent decision making? And then when you kind of break that down and pull it out, you can be like, oh, okay, I do kind of see a pattern between my negative thoughts here and then down the line, negative behaviors that bring me back around to negative thoughts, and then negative, like you put yourself in a feedback loop. And so, yeah, anyway, I agree with everything Woody and Kyle said, but be careful with those negative thought processes, because they can trap you.
Yeah, I think you should go outside. I think that room is fucking awful for you. I think that room is awful for you. Like you could take your gaming setup outside and like get under the shade, and you just need to be outside. Like, I'm not saying I know that gaming is your thing. That's like how you get your money and everything. Mm-hmm. But like, man, going outside, it feels so good to get in the sun for a little while and get that vitamin D going. It's it makes you feel better.
So
just I'm not gonna say that.
So I practically have a mental fitness routine, and it involves going outside. You know, like for me, it's the pool typically, but like I'm going out there not just to fix my foot, which is broken right now, or leg or whatever. But I'm going out there like because what I spend most of my time doing lately, which is laying down, elevating, and icing, it's good for my physical health and terrible for my mental health. So I gotta do shit. You know, I gotta get downstairs, spend time with the family, get outside, spend time in the sun, because otherwise I'll just go bonkers and not be happy.
You need a fun thing to do. Like we go out in the backyard and play disc golf a lot lately. Like I really enjoy that, as lame as it sounds. It's fun to throw those discs. And and Kitty's got like a giant.
The retrieval, like, does it like? In my mind, I picture it like playing catch with yourself. You know,
So
you throw it over there.
that's why it's nice to have two people. Like I'll
Okay.
stand up. Kitty plays and I retrieve, and I enjoy that part because I jog them back to her, and that's my little workout. I'm getting out there as I play, and we're having a conversation across the yard as we're doing it, and occasionally I'll throw them, but that's not really why I'm there. I'm kind of there to support her and her disc golfing more than anything, and I enjoy that. And when I do throw them, it's fun. I like throwing the discs, and the dog like. I'm not playing with the dog, and the dogs have been at the kennel for a little while lately, but the dog will normally go and retrieve each one for Kitty and bring them right back to her. So that always makes it really easy too, because he runs like 35 miles an hour or something like that.
Does he damage the disc?
Oh yeah, he fucks them up.
Okay. I was expecting you to be like, no, he's surprisingly gentle with them. He recognizes they're expensive. I guess not.
They're actually pretty affordable, and we have so many. Just they're like golf balls in that regard. It's like that was ruined. And that's a DAC disc now.
Is she sponsored? Is that why you have so many, or they're just not that they're affordable?
A sponsor sent a bunch of them, but we've also been given a bunch of them, and she's
Okay.
purchased a bunch of them. So it's just there's like 60 or 70 discs out there in a gigantic disc golf bag. So we're not running out of discs anytime soon.
I swear one of Kitty's skill sets is getting famous in a micro community, right? Like I swear if Kitty got into like reef keeping, which is like a high-end fish tank, before long, like she'd be widely known as like, fishy
The reef
Kitty.
keeper.
Yeah. and like if people would be like, "Oh my god, you're Kitty. Hey, would you like a bigger tank?" And that's just something that she falls into.
It's really that all those little sports are so interconnected that like her notoriety from paintball has like bled over to anything and everything that's kind of adjacent to it, and disc golf is one of those things, believe it or not. So like
Okay.
there's people that are like the guy who runs one of the biggest disc golf companies like knows her from paintball, and like she just stumbles upon these guys in chat rooms and stuff. They're like, "Are you the paintball Kitty that played at World Cup in like 2002 and did this and that?" "Yeah, that's me. I'm paintball Kitty." And then, it ends up in a whole thing.
Cool. Well, that's
Yeah, it
pretty
is cool.
neat. We had another...
But yeah, we were talking about getting Wings something to do, and hey, I know you don't like taking advice, man, but like it's time, right? Time to listen to somebody. You don't want to listen to yourself though.
Yeah, like I've been depressed before, and you know the right things to do, but something about your programming at the moment makes that task monumental. The bed is just so much more attractive than the sun. That dark room with the shades down. What are they? Blackout curtains. I think that's what
Yeah.
they're called.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, blackout curtains.
big fan. Look, I disagree with you on this one. Man needs his sleep. All right, this window right here. Forget blackout curtains. I ordered window tint. I window tinted the glass.
Are you serious? That's
Black as
absolutely
night.
It's virtually not a
See,
window.
I disagree with you on the blackout curtains and obviously the
On who?
tinted
Or just-
windows. No,
Oh,
I
with
disagree with
Kyle.
Kyle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I feel like Woody's going to say something that I agree with, or that I'm about to say here. Like, even on weekends and stuff, even if I do get to bed late, like, I kind of like being forced to start my wake up process earlier to where, like, at least the light's there. So even if I decide to be lazy and lay in my bed, like, it's not going to be as bad as if I was just snoozing till early afternoon with blackout curtains,
Nah,
And then
fuck all that.
if you wake up past noon, even on like a Sunday, like I just have a feeling all day of like, what the fuck? Like, why did you do that? Why did you not like you woke up and now half your day is gone, and you know you're not going to get to bed at a reasonable hour tonight because you slept too long. Like it's just, and that's how you get in one of those traps, those sleep traps.
It is how you get in the sleep trap, but it's much easier to like put it all the way back around the clock if there's no pesky sun coming in through your windows. Like you don't.
Yeah,
want
but
that.
I can't sleep from like
Our
1 a.m. to-
ancestors lived in caves. You want to talk? You want to talk about the keto diet and living the way mankind is supposed to live in a fucking cave?
I believe
That's
they
how
didn't
we're
have
supposed to
doors
live.
on the cave though, and I'm not even sure they lived in caves.
They were right at the entrance though. They went deep. Then where'd all those cave paintings come from? Right? Like they were deep in the cave, in the darkness, hiding from the shit that lived outside.
I've
the
watched
caves.
enough primitive technology YouTube videos to assure you that they had small huts with clay roofs.
It depends where you live. That's the next step forward. We didn't get into those clay huts until tens of thousands of years we spent within the caves.
So
I
Kyle's
don't want
wired
to live the
different
way
than me.
nature wants us to, because then we'd die when we were like 28. We'd have shitty little baked bean rotten teeth. We'd be 5'2". We'd have to go hunt for food and mostly fail. Like we'd have to live in a cage and sleep on the ground. Like this is a shit living. It's not fun.
Taylor and I have been watching this documentary on YouTube. It's The Adventures of Mark and Ollie, Olly, and they're these two British characters who go off and live with the Kombai tribe, and I think maybe Indonesia or in Papua New Guinea or somewhere like that, and just incredibly isolated. They're the people who put the gourds on their penises and wear nothing else. It's those people.
My weekend outfit.
They live with them for, I think it's months. I think they live with them for like 6 months or something. And it's to the point where like the first thing the Kombai people do, they're like, we're going to adopt you. You're now my son. He's and they refer to them constantly. Like the women will be singing and working. They're like, my son Ali is lazy and weak.
Is that what they sing?
Yeah, they have like a favorite one. Like as it goes on through the months, one of the guys is not nearly as good at the activities as the other guy, and so they'll like have the little interviews with the Kombai people, and they'll be like, "What do you think of Ollie?" And they'll be like, "Ugh, his parents didn't teach him how to carve, or teach him how to sew, or teach him how to fish, or build traps." And like, "What do you think of Mark?" It's like, "Well, his parents didn't teach him that either, but he's figuring it out. He's getting it. Like he's strong. He's a good worker." You know, like it's a really good series.
They live in these
It's on
tree
YouTube?
houses. Yeah, they live in these tree houses, and you got to go like 80 feet up is how high the tree house is, with these like bamboo slats and this whole structure. It's very impressive when it's done. They said it weighed 4,000 pounds, like the house up in the tree. And Mark apparently has climbing experience, like I guess rock climbing as well as like tree climbing and stuff. And he's like, I normally have my gear, and it's a bit scary, but you know, be part of the team. Can't let them build my house for me. Meanwhile, Ollie's on the ground like, fuck that.
That's great. I have to watch it. I think I can catch up to you guys because it would be a mistake to underestimate how much media I'm consuming right now.
You'll finish it tonight, because this is one of those things that
I
you
finished
will
The
be
Shield.
interested by.
I watched The Shield. The last season was so good it made the previous seasons better. I don't know if I recommend it for for Taylor, because it's almost 100 hours of content and it's just like a B series to me. So that's a big
lot to
investment.
commit to.
Yeah.
That final episode.
Oh my God! Can I spoil it for you, Taylor? I don't think.
Yeah. I'm not gonna.
So the main character's name, is it Vic? Help me. What's the name? Yeah. He's kind of a badass cop. He leads what's called the strike team, and they're the people who kick the doors down and solve crimes. But he often breaks the rules. Sometimes the rule breaking is semi-acceptable behavior, like mild torture to get information on where a dying kid is. You know, so you're like, sorry, hit the guy with, he unplugged the camera and roughed the guy up a little.
Can I jump in real quick? If a drug dealer swallows some crack rocks, fingers down that fucker's throat. We're getting that back up. Give it back. Give it back.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit.
Early on, there's a police captain who was very honest and straight, and there's a kid that was kidnapped, and for some reason they felt like she was dying soon, and so the captain's like interrogating him and using and he's like, Vic, give it a go. So Vic goes in there, closes the door behind him, unplugs the camera that records all the action, and you hear, I think if I remember right, it goes to the guy screaming. He comes out like 6 minutes later. She's at 124 Rose Street, so that kind of stuff is like semi-acceptable bad behavior. There's also totally bad behavior, like shooting a fellow
Murdering
cop.
his partner.
Yeah.
Murdered him and like set up the whole thing, and murdered him and framed it on a drug dealer. Hey, do you remember the episode of It's Always Sunny in the most recent season where they're sitting around locked in the cruise ship room, and they're talking about being able to do impressions, and Dee tries to do an Obama impression. It comes off super racist, and and they're like, they ask what's Dee's brother's Dennis, like can you do a black woman? And he's like, God damn it, Dutch, what other evidence you got us running for the DA? And it's like a perfect CCH Pounder impression. Black lieutenant in this show, she's the one in charge. He nailed it. That was incredible the way he did it. Yeah, lieutenant.
Anyway, they go through the whole thing, and Vic's down there banging doors or whatever, and you can tell he's a bad guy. Like, he's not good. He shot a fellow cop, and then he was behind. And then at the very end, spoiler, he chooses to confess to every crime. So he's had partners ready to go to jail for him, ready to die for him. Like, look, I'm just one person, you're three, so I'll die so that the rest of you don't get in trouble several times. And then when finally the screws are turned on Vic, he confesses to everything and sells out his partner. And you're
for immunity.
Thank you. For immunity.
They're like, anything you say into this recorder, you're immune to. And he's like, how much tape you got?
Yeah. And he just lays it all out there. So, what he does, he gets immunity, and he gets a job at ICE. Is that an immigration thing?
Yeah.
Or a drug thing? Okay.
Yeah.
So, when he confesses to it, first thing he confesses to is killing his partner. Now everyone at ICE thinks nothing of him. And then he confesses to all the other stuff. And he's garbage. He's worse than most of the criminals they catch. They give him a desk job, which you can see is clearly as bad as prison. Like, to him, being chained to a cube is the end of the world.
Is this Michael Chiklis?
Yes.
The fat guy? Okay.
And I don't know, some of the videography, the music, everything, they captured just how much this fell apart. Like, I finished watching the show, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I haven't robbed any Armenian money trains, because I'd be very stressed if I knew. It's tough.
Yeah, it gets, you feel very afraid for the characters because they are in so much shit, like an amount of shit that isn't gonna blow over anytime soon. It's like, it'll be fine in a year or two. No, they cannot catch us because we've killed way too many people. Way too many people, and the Armenian mob is after us, and they chop people's feet off with axes, and they want their money back. It's a B series. I agree with you completely, but it's a strong B. Like if it's not B, it's not a B series that you walk away from like an NCIS or some shit. You're like, oh, that had an effect on me. Like, some of that shit they did, I've never seen that shit go down before. When he's confessing, and they're like, yeah, anything you say in here, you got immunity to. The first thing he does, he's like, I murdered my partner, Jimmy, on August 14th, blah, blah. And they just go, what the fuck? We thought that, you stole
Unpaid
some
parking
drug
tickets,
money.
yeah.
Or, like maybe you beat somebody up one time, or you murdered a cop? It's just, and he's like, yeah, and then he just keeps going.
Yeah, and then, the Armenian money train
shit.
he robbed, there were deaths in that. Like, they killed guys to get that money, and
Bad guys.
Right? It's like that True Lies scene. Like, have you killed people? Yes, but they were all bad. That wasn't bad right there, huh?
That's one of Arnold's better movies. That's probably a top 6. It's up there with me in the True Lies movie. Jamie Lee Curtis, when she's got the lingerie on and she's doing her dance, and then Bill Paxton playing the slimy used car salesman who's pretending like he's a secret agent to woo Jamie Lee Curtis. Meanwhile, her husband is back. It almost doesn't make sense. It's hard to cast Arnold because Jamie Lee Curtis, has she never seen Arnold come out of the shower? Like how is she falling for Bill Paxton over here, who's like slimy car salesman, when Arnold Schwarzenegger, multiple Mr. Universe, Mr. Olympia winner, is back at home? Like, he's 240 pounds of chiseled muscle, but she's like being wooed away by a slimy Bill
By
Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
Tom
Yeah,
Arnold
it's
was
hard
in
to
that
cast.
too, and I thought he did a
Tom
good job. I actually like
is
Tom Arnold.
Best performance ever by Tom Arnold. Killed it. The real, it's a very racist movie though, as far to
Oh.
Arab Americans, I guess, because of the way they portray the Arab
Oh.
terror. They're all like goofy and bumbling, and they can't get their shit straight. And at the end, Arnold literally gets on a fist fight with an Arab terrorist on top of a Harrier jet, and the terrorist ends in New York or something, like hovering, and the terrorist falls, and he's got like a backpack with like a rig to hold his machine guns, and that gets looped around a missile, and they're in a city. So Arnold just launches that missile into the building of other terrorists. It's a good movie. I like it. It's an action movie. Schwarzenegger kills it.
I enjoyed it too. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good stuff. Did we have Wonder Woman? Did we want to cover Wonder Woman or save it for something else?
We both liked it, but it had its flaws. Like when one's kicking ass, it's really cool, but then they're like warping around, getting through the World War One front somehow, and it seemed like the Kaiser was just like, everybody's really easy to. It seemed like if it was that easy to penetrate that deep into German territory and get around these high-ranking German officers and into their headquarters and stuff, that like they'd have figured it out by now without the help of a Wonder Woman. And the way she penetrates like a World War One battlefront, like
the trenches.
it's not. Yeah, it's not as if the trench warfare is only 200 yards wide. It's miles wide the front goes on. It wouldn't have mattered that she knocked out one machine gun, because there were dozens and dozens, and there would have been hundreds of men. She'd have had, I'm not saying Wonder
And they would
Woman
have shot
can't
from
do
an
it.
angle, right? Like she has
Any angle.
she has a shield. If people don't know, Wonder Woman's shield's very similar to Captain America's, right? It's a circle with a star, and there's like, I don't know, 60 people shooting at her on this line. So she puts her shield up. What? Like,
No
why
one
aren't they-
shoot her feet!
No, yeah.
No one shoot her feet!
I know, or from an angle, like she's got the shield out 2 feet in front of her body. If the guy from over there on the side is gonna shoot her in the body, it's really a lot of trouble. And by the way, she's watching, so her head's exposed and stuff. That she wears that little tiara. That's not gonna protect you. That's not armor. So, but that wasn't actually, that bothered me a little bit. I had 2 bigger criticisms. One, the athleticism of the women in it was just always 1 or 10, right? Sometimes they're jumping up.
Give me these examples, because I disagreed with you there.
Hell, I think if you were to rewatch the opening scene on the beach with the fight, and you would see there are women who were just like clumsily doing like choreographed moves, and it's terrible. They're clumsy. They are not athletic. They're awful. And then they do what either is a stunt woman or CGI enhanced, and they are perfect, nailing form as they shoot 3 arrows at a time while flying 30 feet in the air. And it's like, that's a superhero. But previously, we had Miss America trying to be an action hero. And, it's really wacky. Wonder Woman herself is pretty good.
Yeah, well, she's the best. She's a different thing.
I
She's
guess
not
I meant
just
the
an Amazon.
casting. Like, Wonder
Gal
Woman
Gadot
herself.
is perfect.
Yeah, like
that's
she's
so fucking hot. She's so fucking hot that it's like hard to look at a woman that's that attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And to the credit of of Patty, what's her name, who directed this thing, she incorporates that into the film. So when you've got Wonder Woman walking down the streets of World War I London, all the men are like, "Whoa, holy shit!" and Chris Pine's like, come along, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Like every room she goes into, someone remarks on, where
That's
did
true.
she come from? like I like that, because
Yeah.
they would. Like, you don't
Uh-huh.
walk into a room with Gal Gadot without every man, especially in like 1908, which I'm 1910 or 11, which is where this would be, I guess. You don't walk into a room of 1910 men with Gal Gadot wearing panties and like
a bra of something. Yeah.
the Wonder Woman costume without everybody being like, what the fuck?
Another
Where did
frustration.
she-
So I get that it's part of her backstory and whatever, but Wonder Woman was so stupid, right? She reads 100 languages. doesn't know what marriage is, right? She's reading this thing in like ancient Sumerian because that's their code, and she's like, oh, it says here the battle's at the front. The front of what? She doesn't know what a watch is, right? The guy comes in with a watch. She has no concept of like watch or I don't know, maybe time, and it's just like,
She's ignorant, not stupid.
okay, yeah, that's better. She's so ignorant, and it's because obviously, like I think I compared her to Arnold Schwarzenegger from Twins. And that still stands. Like, she's just so clueless, fish out of water story, that it was a little too much for her to be that effective, in my opinion.
I liked that part, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
And I felt there were I felt like they handled that quite well because like she's very smart. Like she's like, oh yeah, I read all 12 volumes of the pleasure novels, and it's clear right
No
there.
mention
that,
of glasses. Yeah.
yeah, well,
Or
she did,
watches. Yeah.
well, yeah, because she's like still. They've been isolated on this island since like the days of the Greek gods or something like that for
Not
thousands
that
of years.
smart then.
Yeah, they've been isolated for thousands of years, so they know everything that there was to know from that time period. So she doesn't know what a gun is or what a bomb is. She doesn't know what
Yeah.
a watch is.
Which
And there's
explains
no
why
reason
they
to-
got destroyed in that first battle. Like, they do nothing but train for war all day long. That's all. Like, this is what they do. They train for war constantly. And then a couple run-of-the-mill Germans hit the beach with bolt-action rifles and fuck up all the Amazonians.
They killed 3, maybe, right? Like 3 or 4 Amazon. They killed all those.
I
Germans.
remember it differently. I remember, like, that island being forever changed. I thought they got lots of them.
Oh no, they wiped those Germans the fuck out. And there was like maybe like the main general died, who's played by the oh god, what's her name from House of Cards and Princess Bride, the beautiful blonde that's married to Frances Underwood, the first lady. Claire's like the baddest ass of all the Amazons that are just actual regular Amazons, because Diana is half Amazonian, half god, because Zeus fucked an Amazon and made her. But everybody else is just an Amazon, which is like the most athletic woman there ever could be. Actually, an impossible level of athleticism for any being, really.
Kind of
Like a
low-grade superhero.
Low-grade superhero, not quite demigod yet, though, which is what Diana is. And they killed her, and like the lady who was swinging from the rope, I saw her die, and I don't recall any other deaths. There was definitely 2 or 3 Amazonians that died, though. They did not fare well against rifles because Diana's the only one who can dodge bullets and see bullets in midair. So everybody else just has to move quickly and be evasive, like a Daredevil or something. I liked it. I thought it's definitely the best effort from DC Comics thus far. It was better than Batman versus Superman. It suffered from none of the pacing issues that those films have. It was clear that like the studio just let them make the movie they wanted to make. There wasn't a lot of. I was never like, oh, well, what the fuck? How'd we get here? Like.
There were
They
no
explained
scenes
it
that
as best
seemed
they could.
designed for the video game or to sell merch. It was
That
just
too.
a movie, you know.
And when she's going into like Wonder Woman mode and they start playing no the music, those are cool bits. Like she just fucks up waves of Germans. Although I would have liked some gore and blood. I like it when my demigod hits someone and they explode. Like if you hit someone hard enough to send them flying 100 feet, that's not what happens to them. You cut them in half. I'd like a little bit more of that. Like if Superman ever gets into a fight in one of these upcoming movies with like some regular people, he should be just like slapping them and they explode. Like, you know when you slap
I want
a
to
bug?
see Superman Muay Thai kick a guy and then like the bone just breaks or something. And it's like, yeah, that's what would happen.
It cut through him.
It depends how
it
hard he
go-
wanted to kick him. You know, I guess Superman would have that option. He could break your bone or just
It turn
amputate.
you into a black hole if he wants to.
Yeah.
Remember that from the Superman movie? Really cheesy, like when he's gonna make Lois Lane a diamond ring, he gets a lump of coal and just goes "Ah!" and makes a gigantic diamond. It's like, why can't you just solved all the problems you could ever have, Superman? Why are you not funding a police force?
Really?
to-
And you're gonna stick with journalism? Are you? You're gonna stick with
That would
fucking
Maybe
idiot.
it would be
Didn't have
hard
super smarts. Yeah.
if you had Superman's powers. I think I'd still be a good guy. I don't know that I could be as good as Superman though.
I've thought about this. I would not be a good guy. I would be your emperor and your god. You would all have to pray to me. There would be morning prayers. I'd be watching to see if anyone skimped out, and those people would meet a quick and early demise. Something bad too.
I feel like I'd be a benevolent helper, but don't get too dependent on me because, Like, I'm not your fucking, errand boy or anything. But look, if you get yourself in a real bind, I'll help you out. Like, that's where I'd want to be. And in exchange, I want to live in, like, Saddam's palace. That's where we go with this.
Absolutely. I get whatever I want whenever I want it. And nobody fucks with me, and you all have to worship me and do away with the old gods. And anyone who doesn't, then we'll have a real holy war. And I'll burn swaths of countries. It's overpopulated anyway. Anything I don't like politically speaking, like if I see like Kim Jong Un launches another missile, I'm like, shoo, shoo, and here he is. just got him. Just slap him around a little bit. Get Diana to talk to him in Korean.
You know what would happen if I was Superman? Like, I do that, right? I get Kim Jong-un, I'd solve the North Korean thing. I'd be helpful all the time. And then people would be giving me shit online because I didn't help in some other situation. Like, oh, man, fucking Woody's an asshole because we got these people in Ferguson. He could have just blown them away. That's right.
No reason
You'd be a mod.
There's no reason to admit that you're a super... Like, Kyle, you're totally in the wrong with letting people know that you're a superhero. You use all of your powers in secret, build yourself your own like legitimate empire, because the second that you make it known that you're a superhuman with powers, every country on earth secretly starts finding ways to kill you. And they will find a way eventually, because apparently all it takes is one very popular rock that's floating around in outer space everywhere. Like, or whatever. I don't know the lore. Screw me.
It's very rare.
Okay, not rare enough apparently, because that seems to be the only thing that can fuck him. And they would find some. And so what you want is to not reveal anything until it's too late. Like until it's too late for them, and then establish your dominance right after you've like infiltrated all of the scientific arenas in the world, because they'll figure out eventually something's up with you after they're like, this multi-billionaire still looks like he's 26 and he's been around for decades. Like, what the fuck's happening? So that's the move. Keep it a secret, lay low, and then when you finally can, you'll have a genuine business. You'll be in every corner. You'll be in consumer products. You'll be in military provisions. You'll be in fucking textiles and fructose. Just the
latex.
And latex. Yeah, latex. Imports, exports, real estate. and then you're too powerful to take down. They can't even, just use kryptonite, because they're like, well, goddamn, the economy's going to tank if this guy just pulls everything out, or if he just flies through and destroys Wall Street.
We went to Seinfeld there at one point, right?
Yeah, just a little.
Are you going to pretend you're an architect instead of a superhero?
Yes. That's what I would do.
It's a bird! It's a plane! No! It's Art Vandelay!
Realistically, though, I would just compete in every one of the 4 major sports until it became obvious, where they're like, this guy just finished up an NBA game away in Philly. And he's back in LA to play for his hometown Kings or whatever just tonight. Something's up. There were no flights.
I'm like, what could I get away with before they kick me out of the league? I'm like, so picture this goal line stand, right? They shoot it way back, almost like a fake field goal kick. I jump over all the offensive line, the defensive line, and land on the field goal, and then celebrate. Are they going to be like, all right, Woody, you're out?
They're going to find out. Yeah, they're going to go, no, you can't. But then what you'd have to do is you just have to go, God damn it, overshot it again. And so you run around the earth to turn time back, and then you, like, to the previous play. And then you do that.
Or like a gymnast, if you grab the field goal and spun around with those, like, one-handed giant loops, and then... I want to do celebrations.
Pull those rings out of the ceiling.
I want to do celebrations that are, like, semi-godly, and just see what I could get away with.
I've thought about that before, like becoming a professional athlete with my superpowers. Like probably the most self-centered thing you could do with superpowers. I think like you're not even helping anybody. You're not fighting crime.
You're hurting people.
You're just fucking playing baseball and slapping well, there's Kyle Myers, a new record, 187 home runs in the 18 games in. 18 games in.
I've thought about that, right? Imagine them trying to intentionally walk you, and you run 6 feet and hit a dinger, because you're that good. Or in my head, Dana White has this like TV series called Looking for a Fight.
Oh yeah.
And in Looking for a Fight, he goes to these smaller things, and he like sort of scouts out good fighters who might make it to the UFC. So I picture myself in the cage, like, Dana, how do you want me to finish him? knock him out. No, 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 no. I don't want to hurt him. Like, pick a different thing. You know, you want a rear naked choke? Like, how about just leg kicks? Anything. You pick omoplata. I don't care. Like, yeah, that would be fun. But totally
Absolutely
mean.
would. Yeah, I would be a god. Fuck all that like going by regular old human being rules. I would want all the kryptonite. I'd make sure that was brought to me, and then I would send it back into space where it belongs, because those are just chunks of his home planet Krypton.
To the sun?
There can't be much of that. Yeah, sure. I'd be afraid that if we sent it into the sun, then I would taint the yellow sun, which is my battery charger.
Maybe
and
some other
perhaps now
sun.
just throw it real hard. Just get it out of our solar
That's right.
system.
We're only dealing with Earthlings. They can't do shit.
Yeah,
you get
yeah,
it
they-
past
they
like
Bury
Mars,
it
and they suck.
Have it made into weapons, and you save it in a cache until another superhero like you shows up from your home planet, because you can't be the only person in the universe fiddle fucking around on other planets, like just realizing that you're a superhero. So you save it until Super Steve shows up from Krypton like 100 years later, and then you just kill him right away.
I like that. You're like, oh, fellow Kryptonian, come here, brother. Ah!
You're playing with fire. Because the
Like
first
a
thing he
murderer.
said is, I'll
Yeah.
make weapons that can kill people like me. Like, that's a risky plan.
That's what Superman does in the Justice League.
Everyone involved in the creation of these weapons is murdered like right after.
Oh, of course.
Like
You do that
right
like Genghis Khan burial ground. You kill the people who buried him, you kill the people who killed those people, and then you kill the people who killed the people who killed those people.
And you gotta
Nobody
kill some
survives.
families. I mean, you might be
Whatever.
an evil villain at this point.
Make my own.
I have the content to watch, and this is no joke, like top-notch shit. It's let me link you right now. So what this is, it's Neil. I'm gonna mispronounce his last name. Neil Blomkamp, that director, Oats Studios. He has this this YouTube channel called Oats Studios, where they are utilizing his in-house CGI as well as his Hollywood connections to produce these 20 or 30 minute short films that are unfinished. Like you watch it and you're like, oh, why isn't there more? But he's got 3 tales on there right now. They're almost like Twilight Zone episodes. The first one, this is the order I watched them in, is in like a future where we're mining this asteroid that hit in Antarctica, and there are synthetic humans and regular humans, and there is a gigantic alien monster that is its form is all of the body parts it's collected from other people. So it's just a mass of hands where the arms are, a mass of legs where the legs are, and then this big bulbous head covered with dozens of people's eyes. And it's got Dakota Fanning in it, the actress. She's the actress in that one. That's the least of them. The next one is Vietnam. And for some reason, one of the North Vietnam villagers has fucking turned into a superhuman demon thing they call the river god, and he's he's invincible. He's just this monster. He's creating insect monsters from the humans he kills. He turns people into zombies, and you've got a solid
good?
snake. Yes, and you've got a
Oat
solid
Studio.
snake type. It's filmed like a production level movie. It isn't like some YouTube shit. And so they're get Solid Snake there. He looks just like him, bandana, long hair, grizzled Vietnam vet. And they're like, the CIA's hooking him up with this weaponry that's going to allow him to fight. He's like, this is your electromagnetic railgun. It fires projectiles at 1/20th the speed of light. And he's like, and this suit, it'll amplify your already God-given abilities. And we call it the cage or something like that. And he walks out, and it's the most badass suit of armor plus gun you've ever seen in your life. And then
I'll
the
check it
other
out.
one has
Yeah, I'll check
the
it
other
out.
one has Sigourney Weaver in it, and it's like 2020 Texas, where these lizard aliens have come down, and they've got giant structures making methane gas. They've completely annihilated our military. We live in these small bands underground and shit, and pulling off suicide raids to kill as many as we can, because they have mind control over us. Like if we look at them, they fucking lock eyes with us. They're like, "Arr," and control you. So they've got this guy's manufacturing these little helmets to counteract that, but there's only so many helmets. And it's got Sigourney Weaver and another actor whose name I can't come up with, but a tough guy. And
I've
they're
noticed that big name actors are better. It happened in The Shield again. That The Shield, the TV show we talked about with the detective, it has Michael Chiklis in it, I think, and a bunch of other actors that you may have seen here and there but aren't super famous. And the Shield gets popular and they bring in Glenn Close, I think. And all of a sudden, it's like, whoa, like she's really delivering in this role. You wouldn't think she could play like a hard-nosed police captain, but she does. And she does great. And then they bring in another actor. I don't know his name. Kyle probably will, but everyone will know the guy. He's black, and one eye seems a little closed. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, Forrest Whitaker.
You got 2 Academy Award winners right there.
And you can see the difference between these guys and everyone else. Like they just have a little more drama, a little more gravitas, a little more it. And it's just like, wow, like these guys are killing it with these performances. It's neat.
Have you ever seen The Last King of Scotland? Forrest Whitaker's Oscar award-winning performance. He plays Tiki Amon or something like that, an African dictator who's just a madman. And there's this white guy who comes in, and they're like becomes, I don't remember their exact relationship, but like he's an accountant or something like that. And Tiki's like, "Oh, my little white friend, I love you, I love you." And then some shit goes bad, and all of a sudden he doesn't love him as much.
Well, I don't think I
I'm gonna
have
check
seen
that movie out.
Yeah.
Don't give anything away because this looks like it'll be pretty good. I haven't really heard much about this.
Top-notch movie. Glenn Close has a
2006,
series called
10 years old.
Damages. Yeah, that's
should-
when
Oh, I'm sorry. We should probably wrap before this turns into PKA.
Yes, because I try to drink my pre-workout like halfway through PKN, and I'm like about 12 minutes ago I started sweating.
For PKA,
Caffeine.
I have this special medical like compression sock that stops my leg from hurting, but for PKN, I don't need it, and it hurts. I'm just like I should have put it on if I knew we were gonna do it. All right, so that was
check out Oats, check out DraftKings. And Wonder Woman was pretty good. Best
Something
DC
in
movie,
Molly?
but not the best thing you've ever seen.
There was another one that had 2 names in it. Oats and Molly, maybe it was Oats Studio, and then it was the guys who did Primitive.
Mark and Ollie's Adventures. Just search that, and you want the one that it's like 6 parts, 45 minutes each.
Okay.
With the Kombai tribe, Kombai with a K, Kombai.
All right,
Yep.
PKN 161.
Yeah.